Alright, if you're just tapping on this video, I'm going to be starting about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, so you might want to fast forward. It's like in the middle of the night, so I don't even know if anybody's going to come on here. What's up, guys? We'll be starting in a few minutes here. We'll be starting here pretty quick, pretty soon. Did I turn the comments off? I did. Hold on, let me start over. I gotta turn the comments back on. Oh, no, I didn't. No, Hey, what's up, Rebecca? Yeah, thanks. There's just so many things that people got wrong out there. Still in 2025, definitely till April 1st, which is a full moon. To see that, I have amazing information on April 1st too. We could go over that after, but it's amazing that there's a full moon be on April 1st. It's almost like a full moon marks the new year, April 1st. I mean, sheesh. That's pretty amazing. And if you start the biblical calendar on the full moon instead of the sliver moon, like the Bible says, then it not only marks the new year for the Gregorian calendar, but it marks the new year for the biblical calendar on the full moon, which is March 1st. Or not March, excuse me, April 1st. April 1st. I mean, like the patterns are crazy. Definite sign there. Yep. Right. Right. Full moon, new month. I mean, if the biblical calendar starts on the full moon and the Gregorian calendar, obviously that's going to be April 1st on the Gregorian, first day of the new year, Gregorian, first day of the new year on the biblical. If you start from the full moon, I mean, that's a heck of a, because the alignment is perfect right there, you know? And I think that's a definite sign that that is the beginning of the new year. That's crazy. And the rapture is going to happen sometime before that. Yeah, perfect alignment. It is just crazy how perfect it is. Both New Year's, biblical and Roman calendar, starting on that day, March 1st, a full moon, and then new moon and rapture equal the same thing, 99, which is simple gematria. New moon equals 99, rapture equals 99. Amazing patterns. That's what really God has done is interwoven all these things, all these patterns. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get started. Might as well. And it's 444. That's crazy. That's Jesus. 444. Jesus in English gematria. So I just want to show you guys a simple timeline here. Okay, you can look these things up yourself. But one thing that you're definitely gonna find is that, and I've talked about this before. I gotta go over the timeline. I want to make it simple again. Is that the first year of what I call recreation, because I believe in something called the gap theory. You could look into that. But the first year of creation or recreation, however you look at it, you're going to find on the internet that it was 4004 BCE. BCE means before common era. Okay, a lot of people think that the BC meant before Christ, but actually originally it was BCE, which is before Common Era. And it's 4004 BCE, the first year of creation or recreation. The 6 days of creation happened in 4004 BC. You'll find that on the internet. And in biblical years, that would just be called year one. Okay? So 4004 BCE in the Bible will just be called year one because it doesn't work the same. There's no BC AD. It just starts and goes forward. So these two things are the same. Okay, now we know about the 6,000 year period, but here's the whole thing about it. Bottom line is this. If you start at 4004 BC and you go 6,000 years forward, okay? So you go 4004, okay, BCE, okay, plus the 6,000 year period that we all know about. Then you get to the year 1996, all right? That's it. You got 4004 BCE, which takes you to 4 BCE. And then from 4 BCE, you add 2,000 years, and it takes you to 1996. So 4004, okay, takes you to 1996. And it's just simple math, okay? So there's a problem there because that means that the 6,000 years is already up, okay? But what we have to understand is that this 6,000 year period begins when Adam falls, begins with Adam getting kicked out of the garden. And as I've told you guys before, to understand when that happened, we look at Jesus, because Jesus is a reflection of Adam, okay, in many ways. Not always, but many ways. His pattern happened in the beginning. Okay, these cycles repeat themselves. Okay, so Jesus died on the cross, just like Adam, when he ate the fruit, he died spiritually, and then later physically. But Jesus died on the cross when he was 33 and some change. 33 years old and some change. So what you do with that, now that's when Adam, okay, ate the fruit. So you take 4004 BCE and you add 34 years, because it would be 33, but then there would be some change there. So 4004, add 34 years, you get 3970 BCE. Okay? This is when Adam was kicked out of the garden. Okay? Adam's fall and Eve kicked out of the garden. 3970 BCE. Okay? Because 4004, just like Jesus, it's a reflection. So 3970 BCE, then you start the 6,000 years. And where do you come? Okay, well, you add 3970 plus, okay, that's all the BC years. Now you take it to 2030. 2030, and it equals 6,000 years exactly. 2030 is the end. Okay, now 2029, but then it rolls into 2030. They overlap, okay? And that's how that works. It's very simple, okay? This is undebunkable, okay? It's perfect. None of this 2032 nonsense. None of this 32 AD crucifixion. It was 30 AD crucifixion. Now let's just go over it one more time. We start at year 4004 BCE, the year of the 6 days of creation, which is year one biblically. Okay, same thing. So 4004 BCE, add 6,000 years, you come to 1996 AD, right? So that doesn't work. There's something missing. Well, what is missing is you have to factor in when Adam fell. That's when the 6,000 years begins. So Jesus and Adam are reflections of each other in many ways, same patterns in many ways. So Jesus died at 33 and some change. So 34 years. So did Adam then. So 4004 BCE, At 34 years, you come to 3970 BCE. So when Adam and Eve fell, kicked out of the garden, 3970 BCE. That's where you start the 6,000 years. Not 4004 BCE, because you end up in 1996. Start at 3970 BCE. 3970 BCE plus 2030 AD years, exactly 6,000 years. That's exactly what happened in the beginning. Okay, and this is why it's important to see God's not his patterns, yes, but his principles. And what are God's principles? His principles are 360 degrees. Right? Things are going to repeat themselves in the same ways. Okay, and this is Ecclesiastes 3:15 and Ecclesiastes 1:9. That these things must repeat themselves. God requires it. There's nothing new under the sun. What was done will be done again. Once you get God's principles in your mind, then, because nobody showed me that came to me. I said, well, Jesus is called the second or the last Adam. The Bible doesn't tell us about the first Adam's fall. What happened in Jesus' pattern? Oh, well, he died at the cross at 33 and some change. Well, you take that back to Adam, same pattern. He died at the tree, just like the cross, the tree, at 33 and some change. So you mark in 4004 minus 33 and some change, which takes you that way. So 3970 BCE is where it takes you. Okay, that's where the fall was. 3970 plus 2030, which is the AD years. 3970 BC years plus 2030 AD years, 6,000 years. Please screenshot this. Look that up yourself. This is the key point right here, 4004 BCE. Okay? It's that simple, but yet it's not simple. Why do I say that? Because it's a simple calculation, but if you don't know what to look for, then you won't find it. Okay? Absolutely. Patterns, orders. Yes, numerology is great. Right. Now, and I'll show you again, as I've shown you guys. Like I said, do these calculations yourself. Add it up yourself. It's perfect. It's perfect math. And it's very simple, really. But like I said, I'll show you this other calculation that I've shown before. And that is, so year 6,000 is 2030 from the fall. Okay, year 6,000 is 2030. Not from the day of creation, the first 6 days, the first year, from 34 years later when Adam fell. So year 2030 is 6,000 years from the fall, Adam getting kicked out. Now, that means that if you subtract 5 years, okay, to where we we're still in 2025, okay? You subtract 5 years, that means we would be in biblical year 5995. Rapture is the value of 99. So is new moon and judgment, okay? It's coming. But, so 6,000 years minus 5 years, that's where we're at, 5995, which should be 2025. Okay. Now, can I prove this in an immaculate way? Yes, I can. I can prove, and I've shown you guys this, I can prove this in a way where you're just going to have to, you just step back and scratch your head and say, how's that even possible? Well, because God, okay? So you take 5995, as I've shown, and just be fruitful and multiply. 5 times 9 times 9 times 5. That's all you do. Multiply each number. 5 times 9 times 9 times 5. Of all the numbers it could give you, it is 2025. And this is the only year you can do that. You can't do that in any other year. No other year. Now, is what I did difficult? No, it's just simple multiplication. Anybody could do it. And if you're not that good, you can do it simply on a calculator. But what is the complex part? The complex part is the hidden part. Knowing even to think to do that. Right? That's the whole thing about Revelation. And the things that I find is that it's not complicated, but what is hidden, what is the complex part, is even getting the thought to do that. And when I started multiplying things a long time ago, that's one of the things that came to me. I said, I wonder what happens if I multiply the biblical year that we're in, 5 times 9 times 9 times 5, and to my shock, it is 2025. And then, I mean, how perfect is that? 5995 is 2025. You add 5 years to 5995, it's 6,000 years, which is 2030. I mean, come on. Forget about it. Forget about it. And so, in the biblical calendar, the new year doesn't start till March and April, just like the Roman calendar actually works. So we're still in year 5995, which is 2025, and the rapture is going to happen. I don't know what the rapture is really, but we're going to find out. Those of us who are raptured, it's going to happen. But I mean, to see this, first to come up with the calculation and find 2030 as the 6,000 year, right? Then you automatically go to 2025, which is automatically 5995. And then to find this, when you multiply 5995, it's 2025? Forget about it, man. Forget about it. That's something that I found a while back that, I couldn't believe. I could not believe it. And, yep, that's right, Rebecca. That's exactly what it is. Let me see here. No, there's only 42 months of wrath. There's not 7 years. That's another lie. So I can go over that real quick, too, I guess. That's a big thing, right? We've been in tribulation for 2,000 years, okay? So the word tribulation is not really the right word. Let me get my eraser. The right word is wrath, okay? And that's in Revelation 12. Okay, when the man-child, us, who is caught up, then the woman and the remnant of her seed goes into the wilderness for 40 months, and the wrath of the dragon is on the earth for 42 months. That's it. Not 7 years. That's baloney. Nowhere in the Bible it says 7 years, but I'm going to do the math for you guys right now. And it's so simple. So easy. But you just, I don't know. Why? I do know why people get wrong. So God determined 490 years. 490 years on Israel. Okay, which is 70 weeks of years. So 70 times 7 is 490. Okay, so 490 years. And he said, from the time that the decree goes out, this 490 years begins, right? So the decree went out. Let me make sure I get my head straight. So it's a 457, right? Right. So the decree went out in 457 BCE. So that 490 years begins at 457 BCE. You can look that up. Please do. I mean, I don't care. I'm not hiding anything, okay? So 457 takes you to around year 0, which there's no year 0, but as a marker. And then so 457, okay. And then if you add 26, so 457 plus 26, all right. So 450 plus 20 is 470. 7 plus 6 is 13, so 483, okay? So you take the 470 BC years, 26 AD years, because Jesus started the ministry in 26 AD, and you get 483 to when Jesus began his ministry, which leaves you exactly 7 years left, right? 483 to 490 is 7. That's the difference between those. Here's what they do wrong. They don't count Jesus' ministry. When you don't count Jesus' ministry, you have 7 years left. But they're supposed to count Jesus' ministry, okay? That's all prophecy being fulfilled. And again, this goes into other scripture. They changed Jesus Christ into the Antichrist in Daniel 9. But regardless, we'll get into that. So you have 457 BCE plus 26 AD takes you to 483 years, okay? You have 7 years left from when Jesus started his ministry. But you add Jesus' ministry. So 483 plus about 3.5 years. That leaves you 43, 44, 45 and a half. So that leaves you 485 and a half. So what's left after Jesus' ministry in 30 AD, not 32? So 485 and a half, so 46 and a half, 47 and a half, 48 and a half, 490. 6 more months. You see that? So you have 3.5 years left, okay? All this 7-year nonsense. 485 and a half plus 3.5 years, which is going to begin this year. You get 490. Completed in 2029, 2030. That's how all that works. Christianity is full of deceivers. But most people aren't going to believe it, even if you show them. So again, let's run over this real quick. God determined 490 years on Israel at the time of the decree that would begin by Artaxerxes. The decree by Artaxerxes, which was 457 BCE. So you take those 457 BCE years and you add them to 26 AD years, because Jesus began his ministry in 26 AD. 457 plus 26 takes you to 483. The beginning of Jesus' ministry. You have 483 years taken up. So the difference is 7 years. 483 to 490. And this is at 26 AD. But then you take the 483 and add Jesus' ministry. 3.5 years, 483 plus 3.5 years of Jesus' ministry takes you to 485 and a half taken up of the 490. And coming, so what do you do? Well, how much are you missing? 485 and a half plus 3.5 that's going to begin this year and end in 2029, 2030 takes you to 490 years finished. That's it. And all these guys, man, teaching wrong stuff. Wrong, man. Just wrong. No, you count the 483rd year, Rebecca. Yeah. Because I know you said 4, yeah. I said that at first too, but then I'm like, oh, you're supposed to count the 483rd year, so. Yep, 726, that's right. You better believe it. And I'll show you guys another one of my favorites. The world isn't, it ends as we know it this year because it's going to be the rapture and everything's going to be changed. But it doesn't end like we think it ends, right? Like, there's still going to be some things going on. So that's that. The timeline is very important to me because God has shown me exactly when we are. And he showed me when we are exactly after he showed me where we are, which is on a flat, stationary earth with the small moon and sun above and the stars above rotating around the top of the flat earth. That's where we are, and this is when we are. But again, I'll show you guys something that, you know, that you'll know that the rapture is going to happen in 2025, which we are still in. So Adam in Hebrew is 3 Hebrew letters. The Aleph, the Dalet, and the Mem. And standard Hebrew, the Aleph equals 1, it's the first letter. The Dalet equals 4, it's the 4th letter. And the Mem is the 13th letter, but it equals 40. Because in standard gematria, it's not like ordinal gematria. So 40 plus 4 plus 1 is the number 45 for Adam. Well, as you guys know on my channel, 45 is the square root of 2025, which means 45 times 45 equals the year that we are still in until April 1st, 2025. God declares the end from the beginning. Well, Adam is the beginning, created on the 6th day. Why was he created on the 6th day? Because at the end of 6,000 years, that's when it would all go down, the rapture. And I'll prove that right now. So we see Adam's name, 1, 4, and 4. Again, another thing is 1440. If you put these numbers together, 1, 4, 40, 1440. That's exactly how many minutes are in one day. Interesting, right? But Adam right here is already pointing to this year that we're in, and I'm going to show you he's pointing to the rapture as well. The last letter of Adam's name is the Mem. I want to show you something real interesting. The Mem is the symbol for the Mem, which we would call the M, looks like this. It looks like water because the Mem means symbolically water, pointing to the flood, and chaos. Water and chaos, the last letter of Adam's name. You see that? Pointing to 2025. So it looks like a wave. But we know it's not going to be water this time. It's going to be fire, which is lightning. But another way to put that is a sound wave. A frequency sound wave war is coming. A flood of sound waves. AI. You see that? It was water with Noah, and it would be as the days of Noah. Not exactly like them, but as them. So instead of water waves, it's going to be sound waves. Lightning, AI. See that? And the reason Adam's name ends with the Mem is because God is telling us something. The Dalet is the door. So first a door was opened in heaven, and I was caught up in the Spirit. Revelation chapter 4. 4 is the number for door. First the door opens, we get caught up, and then Mem, the water, the waves or the sound waves, frequencies, water, chaos. First the door, the Dalet, then the Mem. the sound waves, the water waves, the flood. And this is Adam, who equals 45, which is 2025. Now watch this. Something even just as amazing. Is that Noah's flood was 1,656 years from the first year of creation. Right? Adam died at 930 years. So if you start from when Adam died, 930 years from the first year of creation, to Noah's flood, 1,656 years past the first year of creation, the difference between that is exactly 726 years. 726 in the Strong's Concordance Greek is the number for harpazo, caught up. The rapture has to be in 2025. And it is still 2025 until April 1st. The full moon. That's amazing. That's an amazing sign right there, that full moon. See that? It's all in Adam. God left all this. Imagine that. I mean, the Bible's not just a regular book, man. It's telling you exactly what's going to happen. See that? So Adam equals 45 in standard Hebrew, gematria. 45 times 45 is 2025, because 45 is the square root of 2025. So Adam is automatically pointing to 2025. Then Adam died at 930 years from creation. Well, Noah's flood was 1,656 years from creation. The difference between when Adam died and then later on Noah's flood is exactly 726 years. The number for harpazo, caught up, raptured. So you have 2025 and you have the rapture. Shoot, man. People are, hopefully, people that are posting out there, Christians, are reminding people or learning that we're still in 2025, man. We're not in 2026. Unfortunately, I see so many people out there who are teaching that are not telling people that we're still in 2025. The new year doesn't begin in the winter, man. All right, good night, Rebecca. Thank you. Yeah. So this guy says I'm not making anything up. You can look everything that I'm saying up. The new year doesn't begin in winter. It begins April 1st, and that's where the term April Fools comes from. Because when they changed the calendar, the people who still hung on to the new year at April, spring, were called April Fools for doing such. Just like you're doing to me right now, they were ridiculed the same way. So congratulations. You're doing the exact same thing that people did thousands or hundreds of years ago. Persecuting Christians. That's all you're doing, man. Yep. April 1st is the new year. Yep. So I want to show you guys one last thing before I end this thing here. Yes, it does. I'm not making this up. Do the calculations yourself. Somebody accused me of making something up. All you got to do is look it up yourself, man. I ain't making nothing up, man. Yeah, they're definitely mockers and scoffers. Okay, so let me show you guys one last thing before I cut this thing. All right. I want to show you guys where the new year begins because a lot of people don't know.
But again, it's public knowledge. You can look it up. And it's actually easy to see as truth because of what happened. So I'll show you guys. So the new year always begins in biblical time. Always. Biblically, the new year always begins in March or April, right? Depending on the full moon or the new moon. So every year, the new year begins in March and April, which is right around springtime. Every year. But for some reason, on our Roman calendar, we're beginning the year in the winter, and that was changed a few hundred years ago, and we were put on the Gregorian calendar. And before that, on the Roman calendar that we're on, the new year was in April 1st. April 1st, they declared they were celebrating the new year on the Roman calendar. And this would coincide very close to the biblical calendar. And the people, the term April Fools came about because the people who hung on to believing that April 1st was the new year, the people who hung on to that truth, they were called April Fools. Because the rest of the world started going another way, right? The rest of the world started saying, oh, the new year begins in the winter in January. But the people who hung on to the truth and said that the new year began on April 1st, they started to be called April Fools. Because the world was being told a lie, but the people who hung on to the truth became fools, April Fools. So that's how all that happened. And this year on April 1st, amazingly enough, there is a full moon. That's crazy. Out of all the days, April 1st this year has a full moon because the moon's different every year. But it has, and that to me, that's a sign. That's a mark. That's a marker. That's a sign right there. April 1st, where the new year really begins, on the Roman calendar, there's a full moon. Man, that's a sign right there. So we're still in 2025. We're still in the biblical year 5995. And please, if you don't believe me, you can look this up. Okay, the new year has never begun in the winter. Exactly. Yes. They will call you a fool. They'll mock you. And they'll say just bad things. Yes, this is the generation. Yes. Somebody here, I wonder if it's even a real person. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I really wish that people, Christians and people who are teaching and stuff, would learn this and tell people. Because, I watch a lot of channels, and most of the channels are saying it's 2026. It's not 2026. It's not 2026. Okay? We're still in 2025, and the rapture is going to happen. And people are going to mock and scoff about what I'm saying, but it's true. That's where April Fools came from. They're calling us fools, but that's nothing new under the sun. So I'm reading the comments. Yeah. Well, the thing is, somebody's talking about the Gregorian calendar, and I realize that. But even with the biblical calendar, let me show you guys. So the biblical calendar the new month begins on the new moon. Now, we've all been told that the sliver moon is the new moon, but the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says that the full moon is the new moon. So I understand your concerns about the Gregorian calendar on the comment. I get it. But here's the crazy thing, is that if we look at the biblical calendar with the month and the new year beginning on the new moon, and the new moon is the full moon, then guess what? April 1st is when the biblical year switches as well. So the Gregorian calendar actually this year is lining up exactly with the biblical calendar, because the full moon, to switch the year, if we look at the full moon as the new moon, is April 1st. So the biblical calendar switches years on April 1st on the full moon, and it just so happens to be that the Gregorian calendar switches years on April 1st. And I get it. I mean, about the Gregorian, but look at this pattern. You gotta look at patterns, man. That is like not normal. First of all, for a full moon to directly hit on the dot April 1st, out of all these years, because we're in so much controversy, right? Like, wait, where are we at? Well, now we know that the year flips on April 1st. Well, wait a second. There's a full moon on April 1st this year? Oh my gosh, what a pattern. Because it doesn't happen every year. Every year it's different. But not only that, it just so happens that if the full moon is actually the new moon, like the Bible says in Psalms 81 verse 3, then April 1st is when the new year begins on the biblical calendar as well. So the Gregorian and the biblical are both lining up to switch years on April 1st, and there's a full moon. Oh man. That's a crazy pattern. Again, that's how I find out things, man. You look at patterns, and you look at pattern recognition, right? It's a language. But, oh, Raybo, my buddy's here. What's up, Raybo? And this guy keeps putting negative comments, it's like, no, God gave us a big, long Bible and all this information so that we can know the truth. Okay? If you don't care, then you don't care, but that's you. Nobody on the planet is 22,026 years old. Okay? Oh, see, this guy, Daisy England, is sounding like an unbeliever. Yeah. Oh! It's I've got eyes that can, or I've got one that can see. What's up, bro? Oh, man. Pretty cool channel right there. Solid. You had to, oh, yeah. I don't know, a girl, a guy, excuse me, man. Or woman, or I don't know, your gender. Yeah, but so that's that, man. Oh, and you know what? I've got one that can see who came on right now. Pretty solid channel. He knows about April 1st. I knew about it, but I was seeing all kinds of stuff, and the time came, I'd address it, and it did come, so. But yeah, he knew. So we have a Muslim in here. Well, if Muslims want to watch my channel, that's cool, man. I mean, we don't agree on who God is, because God has a son and his name is Yeshua, Jesus Christ, and Muslims don't believe that, but what can you do? Agree to disagree and go about our ways.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys, man. There's amazing patterns. Always look at the patterns. God is a God of patterns. He's a God of numbers. He's a God of understanding and wisdom and knowledge. And he wants you to know things. He doesn't want you to be in the dark, you know, or certain people to be in the dark, I guess, you know. Because there have been a lot of people that have been in the dark in the past when the Bible wasn't even given, like to slaves and other people. So, you know, but God is God, so he doesn't need anybody to do anything. But that was that. And I hope that Christians are going to catch on to that because, you know, Christians need to catch on to the correct timeline who are teaching or whoever. And they need to realize that there's no 7-year wrath period. And then they need to realize that we're still in 2025 and the rapture is going to happen. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan Luke. Yeah, there's some trolls, man. Yeah, like that person right there. Like that person right there. It doesn't even get me mad anymore. It used to, but I'm just like, oh, what can you do, man? So the Quran, yeah, interesting. We have a Muslim. Yeah, but he's not described as a son of God, you know, and his deityship is taken away in the Quran. And in the Quran, it says to kill Christians too. And it says that you can lie to Christians and that's okay. So think about that, you know? Yeah, I don't get mad anymore, man. I don't, doesn't even, I laugh most of the time now. Sometimes I laugh. But, you know, I just don't want them to confuse people, you know? Because you could have, you know, lesser people who are a little more weak-minded or whatever. And then this guy, here's another guy saying that Yahweh is not Jesus's father. Yeah, that's wrong. I could prove that wrong right now. I could show you something really cool if you actually want the truth. Okay, so I'll show you. I know, yep, April 1st. So here, I'll show you guys that absolutely Jesus is the Son of God. So there's somebody that said that he wasn't, but let me show you this. So the YHVH, it's called, I think it's like the Tetragrammaton. The name of God, Yahweh, okay, YHVH. Well, the person that said, oh, Jesus isn't the Son of God, right? The Son of Yahweh, or right, okay. Well, interestingly enough, in the name Yahweh, the Y, the Yod, the symbol for the Yod is a hand. And then the Hey means behold. And then the Vav is nail. And then it's another behold because it's another Hey. So Yahweh, in the symbols means hand behold, nail behold. Gee whiz. I wonder who that's alluding to. Or maybe Jesus Christ? So the name Yahweh is directly pointing to Jesus Christ and the cross. Come on, man. Whoever said that? Oh, so I think he's probably just messing around. Yeah, I don't know. Weird stuff, man. And then, if you add up the name of Yahweh in ordinal gematria, it's 10,565. Yod is a 10, Hey is a 5, Vav is a 6, and Hey is a 5 again. So 10 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 equals 26.
What happened in 26 AD? That's the year that Jesus began his ministry. Oh, would you look at that? Another direct connection to the name Yahweh and Jesus Christ. It adds up to when Jesus began his ministry, 26 AD. Oh, and watch this. Oh, this is a good one. See, I got so many. Oh, boy. Okay. So, the word God, the G is the seventh letter, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G is the seventh letter. O is the 15th letter. And D is the fourth letter. So 7 plus 15 is 22. Plus 4. 22 plus 4 is what? Uh-oh. 26 again. God equals 26. Jesus began his ministry in 26 AD. Yahweh equals 26. You're telling me that Yahweh, Jesus is not the son of Yahweh? Oops, that's not going to work, is it? Patterns, my friends, secrets, mysteries, hidden wisdom. Now watch this. Herod, King Herod, began rebuilding the temple. We'll start at 0 right here, right? So 0 is not an actual year, we're using it as a marker. So King Herod began rebuilding the Jewish temple 20 BC. You can look this up. In 20 BCE. Okay. So he began rebuilding the temple. So Jesus comes along and begins his ministry in 26 AD. 26 AD. And one proof that you can know, another confirmation is when Jesus talked to the Pharisees, they said to Jesus, it took us 46 years. 46 years. 46 years to build this temple. Well, if you figure out where the temple began to be built, which was 20 BCE by Herod, you can look that up, and you go 46 years forward, oh my goodness, again, 26 AD. Can't fight it, baby. And then Jesus said, tear this temple down in 3 days, I'll raise it up. He was talking about his body, okay, but that's something else. But that's how you see things. You put pieces together. You look up, when was the temple being built? Oh, 20 BC is when it began to be built. Then the Jews said it took us 46 years to build this temple. So you go 20 BCE, 46 years forward is 26 AD. Again, you come to 26 AD when they were talking to Jesus, and that's when he began his ministry. Now watch this. Add it together. 20 BC plus 26 AD. 26. Oh my goodness. Which is exactly 2,000 years plus from 26 AD. You see what God did there? Do you see how great this is with the numbers? 20 BCE to 26 AD, put it together, it's 2026. What is that? Well, if you start at 26 AD and go 2,000 years forward, 2 days, 2,000 years, you come to 2026 AD. Come on. Perfect patterns. Perfect patterns, man. That's what God did. That's right. Jesus knew the end from the beginning. Yeah, absolutely. They knew. God knew. He encoded 2025 everywhere in the Old Testament. No, BCE is before Common Era, not current events. Nobody here read or speak Hebrew. Well, that's okay. That's cool, man. Hey, just try to learn it. Learn the alphabet. I bought it. Here, I'll show you the best book you can buy to learn Hebrew. Hold on. And it's so simple. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm going to get it right now. It's the best book. Where is it? Hold on. Let me see. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. Hold on. Hold on. What the heck? Okay, I found it. All right, I found it. Okay, the best book to learn how to speak Hebrew is this book right here. Okay? It's so simple. It describes how to pronounce the letters. It's called Learn to Read Hebrew in 6 Weeks. Yeah, right. It took me like 4 days. Less than 4. I don't know, maybe less than 4 days, okay? But that's it. If you want to learn the Hebrew alphabet, how to pronounce them, and what they look like, this is the book for you. It simplifies everything. It's called Learn to Read Hebrew in 6 Weeks. It's awesome. It is awesome. So, maybe you guys got that. That's all it takes, man, is a whiteboard and a phone. That's true. Right, yeah. Well, I understand that it's not Paleo Hebrew, but there's a lot of symbolism in the symbols, the way that they look, that are actually very telling too. So, yeah, I get that. Modern Hebrew is like it was created like 150 years ago. Paleo Hebrew is the original, but there's so much connections. They're tied together very closely in the way the symbols are, and even the way you pronounce things. They're close. They're very close in a lot of ways. But yeah. Koine Greek. I got a book on how to uh, learn Greek. I haven't even opened it yet. I bought it though. Yeah. Yeah, so let me go put this back real quick. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Let me see. So this person is calling me a troll. I don't even know why. That's not very nice. There was in the iPad Goat. In the iPad Goat, there's a scene where she looks like Cinder. She looks like she's dressed up like a bride. The girl in the white dress.
Okay, sure. So the girl in the white dress. So she spirals up, right? She spirals up in the white dress, the bride. And I can't find that clip though. I've seen it though. I don't know if that's in iPad Goat or if that's something else, but that's a symbolic picture of the rapture. The golden spiral, right? Spiral up. Yeah. Jesus is the golden spiral. Yeah, it's okay, Mr. Jason. Don't even pay attention to the guy, man. It's an iPad Goat. Yeah, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I don't know where it was. If you want to get it to me somehow, I don't know. Maybe throw a link in my. If you could throw a link in a video, that would be cool. So I could look it up when you get a chance. Oh, good. That guy's leaving. Good. Awesome. See you later. Yeah, so. So, the thing is on my channel, this video, my videos, everything that is said and claimed, you could look up yourself. I give you guys, information and data that you can compute yourselves with your own computer or phone. I don't give my opinions on things like this. It's just numerical facts. Biblical facts. I mean, to call me something that I'm not. Sorry, I thought you were leaving. This guy's still here. I thought you were leaving. That guy's not leaving yet. Jeez. So. But yeah, so that's that, you know. Doesn't say nobody's gonna know. It says we'll know the season. It's not winter. Most likely April. All right. Well, it could be late winter, or it could be in the winter. I don't know. But we ain't going into 2026. I know that. I know that for a fact. Without the rapture. So, April 1st or before. Yeah, man. They can't wait. The people can't wait to come in here and just say stupid things. This is my channel. How can I troll myself on my channel? It's my channel. Trolls go on other people's channels and do what you're doing. What I mean, it's like it can't be real, right? It's got to be a bot, right? Like a human being can't like really not understand that, right? Anyways, I know showing you guys some things here. Hopefully, you guys want to watch it again. Look these things up yourself. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Thank you for joining.